Okay guys, welcome to the Linux Fundamentals Part 1, and you are going to learn about some basic Linux commands and some basics about Linux. It's fair to say that Linux is a lot more intimidating to approach than operating systems, just Windows. Both variants have their own advantages and disadvantages. For example, Linux is considerably much more lightweight, and you're surprised to know that there is a good chance you have used Linux in some form or another every day. Linux powers things such as websites that you visit, cars or entertainment control panels, point of sale systems such as checkout tills and registers in shop, and critical infrastructure such as traffic light controllers or industrial sensors, phones and similar small computing devices, and much more. Yes, we're going to learn some of the Linux basic commands in this video, and let's talk about Linux before diving into it. Like, Linux is a popular choice for servers and machines that you will interact with in cybersecurity. This interaction starts with a terminal, not a mouse. In this room, you will interact with your first ever Linux terminal, a place where we can run commands on the system. Being familiar with the terminal, the command line interface, you can call it as command line interface. So on Linux, it is critical skill, as you will most likely spend most of your time here in cybersecurity room. From running hacking tools to hunting down attackers, a command is an intrusion that we can give the computer to perform given task. One of the first command we can do is who am I. This is important in cybersecurity because you will often be changing users on the mission, which determines what you can do and cannot do. So who am I tells who you are on the system. Here, once you start the mission, you will have some terminal interface available. Let me view that in full screen so that you will have some better viewing experience. So I just view that in the full screen. So now this is the terminal that they provided. When I enter who am I, you can see I'm currently logged in as TryHackMe. Like that, you will be able to see things like that here, right? So that's fantastic. Now let's enter some other commands like echo. In order to print things, you can just use the echo. Like let's use that echo, and you can just use anything like hello. It is going to print the hello. So let me try to zoom. Unfortunately, the zoom was not available in this case. So I will show you that in my computer. Okay. So who am I? Show who you are. Like I'm Kali in this case. And the echo shows like subscribe now. So you have to subscribe, guys. So echo subscribe now will print the subscribe now. Like that, whatever you enter after echo, it will print in the terminal. And who am I shows which user who you are, right? So yeah, let's move on. And what command would we use to find out who we are on the system? So you can just enter who am I in order to find who you are on the system. What command would we use to output some text? Echo can be used for outputting some text, right? So let's move on to the next task. We are going to learn some little more commands like ls for list what's in the current folder, cd for changing directory, like moving into a folder, and cat for viewing the file, and pwd for print the working directory. Let's see here, like ls for listing the files. We have access.log, folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, folder 4 here. Like that, let's enter ls. So here we have some of the files. So pwd can be used to know your current location. I'm in home Kali in my computer, and we can the cd command is moved to specific place. Like we can see these colors are in or we can call as the directory. So you can move that to that particular directory using cd. So now we are in desktop. You can see pwd says we are in home Kali desktop. Before we are in home Kali, but after cd desktop you are now in home Kali desktop. Cd is for changing the directory, right? So other than that, we also have commands like cat in order to view a specific file. Here in this example, we have the access.log, right? So let's cat the access.log. So now you can see this is the access.log, right? So you can just use the cat command to view the file. Okay, so now let's enter like run ls in the current folder. How many folders are there? So when you enter ls, you can see there will be 4 folders and 1 file, which is the access.log. So you can see the color here is different. So this is folders, and this one is a text file or log file. So there will be 4 folders. On one of these folders contains a file. Which folder is it? One of the folders contains a file. We have to find which folder is that. So what we can do, they are talking about cd. So we have to visit various folders using the cd and list. There is some access.log and passwords.txt. So I think they are talking about the folder 1. One of the folders contains a file. So folder 1. So yeah, so use cat to read the file within the folder, and what does it say? So we have 2 files, access.log and the password.txt. I think they are talking about maybe passwords. Yes, guys. So this is the password 123. So that is what it is saying. Okay, let's move on. So we have commands like find in order to find, like search for files by their name. So this is an example for searching for files by their name. And we can use the grep command for searches inside the text, like grep can be able to find that this particular word exists in this particular text. Yeah, let's see that in action. So here we have, let me first move back, like cd space dot dot. So now I'm in the cd space dot dot makes you back into one directory. So now I'm in home TryHackMe in this case, right? So now you have a better viewing experience. Okay, now I am in home TryHackMe. So when I enter ls, you can see there will be folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, and 4, things like that. So now you are using find command, and you can see the example of find, how you can just use the find is shown here. So now let's use find minus name, and we have to find the passwords.txt. So let's search for passwords.txt and press enter. So now you can see where is this passwords.txt located. We were able to get the location, right? So this is how you can just use the find command, guys. And there will be a lot more ways that you can use file as a basics, as a starting point. This is how you can use the find command in general, in basic. Okay, so other than that, we have the grep command. We have the access.log, right? So inside that there will be a lot of files, right? So let's get that, and you will be able to see your terminal is going to fill up with the access.log, right? So if you want to find a specific word from this access.log, then you can just use the grep command. For example, we have to find for the TryHackMe inside the access.log, right? So in order to find that, you can just use the grep command. Let me show you that. Like, let me use grep, and let me use grep, then double quote, then pasting the TryHackMe, and after that I'm just specifying access.log. Now I can see every entry, every result that comes here contains the TryHackMe word, right? So this is how you can grab it using TryHackMe for finding a specific word from a list of words, right? So this is a log file which contains a lot of entries. So in order to find a specific word, then you can just use the grep command, guys. I hope that one is clear for you guys. Okay, so after using the grep thm access.log, we have to find a flag. And what is the flag? Let's use the same with the thm, the grep thm access.log. This is going to find the flag. Here it is, guys. We have the flag, guys. So this is how you can use. You can specify double quote or not, but it is recommended to specify double quote. In this case, it doesn't specify, but the first case I just specify that. Yeah, it is recommended to specify double quote after grep, guys. Here is the command that we use, right? So we get the flag. So, like, I think just copied incorrectly. Let me correctly copy that. Okay. So now let's move on to the task 5, which is about the combine commands and capture their output. So in Linux, there are a set of special characters that can combine commands together. These are called operators, which tell Linux how it should process both commands. From being able to combine commands to do what's called a redirection, sending the output of a commands elsewhere. Let's go over these. So we have 4 commands here, like ampersand, double ampersand, redirection, and the redirector does the same thing. Instead of reading these things, I'm going to show you in practice. Okay, so we have the ampersand command, right? So I will use my own terminal to show you that, so that you will have a better understanding. For example, I have to sleep. I have a command called sleep, guys. When I enter sleep space 5, my terminal will sleep for 5 seconds. Whichever command that I am entering in this sleeping period, it won't work, right? So it will only work after this sleep, right? So sleeping for 5 seconds, when I enter pwd, it won't work right now. After 5 seconds it will work the command, right? So sleep will make this terminal sleep, right? So if you want to use the ampersand symbol, guys, if you use the ampersand symbol, then what makes this, like, sleep is in the background, sleep runs in the background, you can still use the terminal like this, and you will still get the results like this. So sleep will run in the background. After 5 seconds it will say done, sleep done, right? So I am showing you one more example about the ping command, guys. So in order to use the ping command, you have to use something like this, pinging for 5 times on this local host. Now I am able to see these results, right? So this command is executing in my computer, right? So what if I execute this with ampersand? So what happens is, like, I can just still enter commands like this, I can still use my terminal, but this ping is also running in background, and you can see it's done, right? So when you enter the ping command, like you can't use the terminal, right? So in general you can't use the terminal until it finishes, right? But what if we use the ampersand, then this command will run in the background, so it won't trouble you. You can just use this terminal to do some of your works. So that is the purpose of ampersand. So you can also use the Python command, like let me show you that also. Like for example, we can just start the Python server on port 8000 like this, and now this server is started in the background. Now you can just use your terminal like without an issue. In order to stop this, you can just use the like yeah, I will show you that this is running. So using the if config, you can see our port 8000 is running here, but there will be no files, so that is why it is not showing any files. So you can just stop that here. You can see someone accessed what's shown here. So it's running in the background. It is not interrupting your work. You can still use the terminal, right? So that is the purpose of ampersand symbol. If you want to stop, then you can just use kill %1. Now it's terminated. So now when you try to refresh, it's gone, right? So that's the purpose of ampersand, guys. I hope ampersand command is clear. It is basically used for running the commands in the background. Okay. So now we have double ampersand. Like while ampersand, like we have double ampersand. Like ls double ampersand pwd will list and will show will execute both of these commands. So if you want to understand, let me move a little bit back, and now let's execute that. So what happened here is double ampersand executed both these commands, right? So ls commands result is this, and the pwd command is the results are these, right? So now what if ls doesn't work, then it will not execute. Let me show you that, guys. So if we can, for example, let's cat something that is not existed here, and now what you can see, it catted for 11.txt, but that file is not existed, so it doesn't executed the pwd. If you use the double ampersand, what happens is, if first command succeed, then only the second command will execute. In this case, the first command succeed, ls was done, now then only it executed the pwd, the results will be there. It is basically used to execute both commands, but or if first command succeeded, then only it will execute the second command, right? But in terms of single ampersand, it will execute both commands. It can also be used for executing multiple commands and running things in the background. But in this case, you can see that this was filed, right? So still it was able to execute both commands, right? So yeah, so the ls was done, sorry, the cat11.txt was done. Like you can see no such file or directory, while the pwd also was done, right? So home kali, like that. You can use the ls so that you will have a better understanding. So it executed this and it's filed, so it just moved to the next command like ls, so it was able to list, right? So that is the purpose of ampersand. It can also be used for backgrounding and also be used for executing both commands. If you use double ampersand, it's about if the first command succeed, then only it will perform the second command, otherwise it won't perform. Okay, so yeah, let me show you one more thing. So here it is, the sql.txt was succeed, so we were able to see the file contents of sql.txt. So now the pwd also succeed, we were able to see the pwd content here, right? So I hope that's clear. So now we have another command like the redirection command. Let's use echo and subscribe now with a file called cyberark. So I'm just creating a file called cyberark, which has this particular command. Okay, I use the redirection symbol, this symbol, the greater symbol you can call us, to make this content available on the cyberark, right? So I just transfer this particular content into cyberark, right? So that is the purpose of redirection symbol. But there is a catch, guys. So if you try to transfer it again, like I'm just trying to transfer hello to cyberark again. So now what happens is the previous content, the cyberark subscribe now was gone. So it added the new content by deleting the old content. So before in cyberark you have the subscribe now, but after executing this command, we can see that was gone. Only the new content is there in the cyberark, while the previous content is not in the cyberark, it's gone. So there is another catch, right? We can use the double ampersand symbol, and let's use subscribe. Now what is going to happen is, you can see the previous content was not gone, it overwrites into the next line. So when you use this, it overwrites in the next line. So we can use again, like let's use echo 123. So now let's get that. Now you can see whatever you are entering with double like double greater symbol, you can see it gets overwritten, it gets added into the next line, right? So that's cool, right? So but what if we use a single greater symbol only, then it will remove the existing contents and it will add the content that we shown here, right? So yeah, now it will remove all of this existing content and it just added the content that we specified here, right? So that is the purpose of single greater symbol. Single greater symbol is going to remove all of the existing contents in this particular file and we're going to add this content only. But if you use the double greater symbol, then what happens is it is not going to remove the existing contents while this content gets added to the next line of the existing content, right? I hope that one is clear, guys. Now let's move on. So what operator waits for the first command to finish before running the next command? Ampersand or double ampersand? What do you think? It's double ampersand, right? So it waits for the first command. If first command files, you can see. So I think that was gone. If first command files, what happens? It doesn't execute the second command, right? So what redirector allows us to save the output of a command without overwriting the contents of file? Guys, in this case, you can see it is about without overwriting. Okay, when you use this command, what happens is it is going to overwrite with the existing content and adding this content, right? The existing content get removed and this content is overwritten to this particular file, right? But when you use this command, it is just adding the content without overwriting, right? It will add this specific content at the next line, right? So if you use this command, the existing command is going to delete and it will overwrite this specific content, right? So yeah, it's about this one. Okay, that's pretty much about it, guys. See you in the next one.